Hai, ne jucăm.
Când română, când engleză.
Mai bine vorbesc și fac eroarele decât să nu vorbesc și
Stai
să
liniștit
nu...
că nici românii nu mai vorbesc corect română. Uite, în România am pus și eu o cărămidă.
Da. Nu cărămide. Glad entry cărămide. You have everything at 2-3 hours distance if we don't calculate the centura of
Ok.
So,
Out of the ring road.
Out of the ring road, you have...
Mai sponsorizează cineva? Menționăm ceva?
Căutăm, lucrăm, da.
Am înțeles. Bună ziua tuturor! Bine ați venit la sezonul 2 al podcasturilor organizate de ARILOG. În acest sezon începem cu prezentarea unui drag prieten de-al meu și al întregii industrii, și anume domnul Jeroen Fabry. Cred că am pronunțat bine.
Foarte bine.
Jeroen Fabry, pentru că descris se scrie diferit, Jeroen. Și ne bucurăm, Jeroen, că te avem.
Mulțumesc și pentru invitație.
Da, o să avem rugămintea telespectatorilor noștri, o să-i rugăm să aibă înțelegere. Vor fi momente în care Jeroen, deși înțelege perfect românește, la idei mai complexe s-ar putea să o trecem pe un pic de engleză. Da? Acestea fiind spuse, reluăm discuția cu persoana Jeroen Fabry. În primul rând, Jeroen este de câți ani în România?
În mai anul viitor fac 15 ani.
15 ani. Acum poziția ta se cheamă?
Business Unit Manager.
Business Unit Manager România și Bulgaria, dacă nu mă înșel.
Da.
Da? La Essers. Bun. Eu când te-am cunoscut, tocmai veniseți
Și am fost foarte tânăr.
Da, și erai pe partea de transport, dacă nu mă înșel.
Da, bine. În primul rând, mulțumesc pentru invitație, ARILOG, Oana și Romeo. Cum am spus și Romeo, acum 15 ani am ajuns în România. Neștiind.
Ce te așteaptă?
Ce mă așteaptă, da, am plecat chiar cu rucsac pe spate și am zis, hai vedem ce e. Am avut 23 de ani, deci foarte tânăr. A fost un proiect care m-a cerut Belgia să mă focusez pe el, să învăț. A fost atunci un proiect pe OMV și de acolo a pornit drumul meu în România, să zice așa. Da? Bine, în primul rând m-a cerut să stau un an, 2 ani și după 3 ani a zis, în atât timp cât dezvoltăm, stați în România. Între timp, bineînțeles, în 2010 am pus pe punct Essers distribuție, da? Tot ce înseamnă livrare.
Atunci ne-am cunoscut noi, că erai pe partea de distribuție.
Da. Am fost în 2009-2010, am pus pe punct o companie care face toată livrarea în România și în 2020 am preluat tot ce afacere facem în România, logistică, vama, distribuție și tot. Deci asta e mare povestea meu. Bine, între timp m-am căsătorit, am 2 copii foarte frumoși.
Ajungem și la ei.
Și da.
Ok, după cum știi, podcasturile astea sunt un prilej cu ajutorul cărora să prezentăm colegilor noștri pe omul. Da? Despre carieră o să vorbim un pic, dar accentul mare este pe a cunoaște omul, pentru că până la urmă noi suntem o industrie destul de mică, suntem un grup foarte mic și ne întâlnim destul de rar, iar acum cu pandemia nu prea ne mai întâlnim fizic. Da? Și mai vin și oameni tineri noi care aud de numele lui Jeroen și nu știu cine e, nu știu ce fel de om e. Și atunci începem cu începutul. Cine este Jeroen ca om? Cum te poți descrie?
This one I will take in English.
I'm sure.
If I have to describe myself, I'm a correct. Yeah? I'm demanding person. for the people who work with if we work if we speak on work, the point of view work, correct, demanding, but also laughing and giving a lot of autonomy to the people.
So you are aiming for
Yes.
conducted teams.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's the aim. I cannot say since I came, because I was I was a kid when I came in Romania, 23 years. But on the way, this is how I developed and the way that I like to manage. Yeah? They say from me, because a lot of comments you get from people, that I put a lot of devotion in my work. And I think it's also normal in one way, because when I arrived, we were an organization of a few tens, let's say 50 people. It grew to what it is today. We have almost 1,000 people in Romania, so I consider it also as my small child, as Romania. And it's due to the teams and team which is today there that we grew that much and what is set up. But still, I still consider it as my small child, and it's like, if you touch the child, you touch me. And that's a little bit the mentality of myself.
Beware, guys, don't touch vessels. Okay, so this is more or less you explain how is the professional, Jeroen. Okay, yes. How is the man? How your beautiful two daughters would describe you and your wife?
Yeah, I think I try to be a very loving man at home. Yeah, I try to forget the stress of work. Yeah, first of all.
Perfect.
And
very few are able to do this.
Yeah, and I also were. I only learned really a year ago what it means to not take the stress at home. So of course, small children, I don't have to explain. It comes with stress, extra stress, at home. But I think I'm a very loving father, although I try to give also a very stepped, if I can say, a very correct education. Yeah? Okay. And it's again, at work it's the balance, family work, at home it's the balance, loving, being parenting. So there, yeah.
The toughest job in the world.
Yeah, I think so. Really, I have all due respect for all the people who raise and are raising kids, because it's difficult if you combine it and also with a job. But I think that's how my kids would describe me. Yeah? I'm at home as same as at work, energetic. Yeah? Sometimes my wife said, "You take a break. Please take a break." While I'm saying always I take a break when I sleep. Yeah? So it's, and it's not that I need always something to do, but that's me. Yeah? I'm very energetic and I need to lose my energy as well as home, as well as work.
Perfect. As a father with a girl, I would ask you, how is to be a father of two girls? It's what I wish to have, two daughters, but I have only...
we had some problems getting to the two girls, my daughters. Mm-hmm. I would say it's a bless, to have two girls. Everybody asks always if it goes about the kids. You had some preferences, yes or no, where I never, also due to the fact what we went through, we didn't have preferences. So we are very glad with our two girls. They're two princesses, they're totally different than boys. But
they are. I have a boy also. I'm telling you, they're totally different.
They're loving. And that's a beautiful part of the girls. They are like boys, I think, hysteric. Also now, one is 2 and the other one is 5 years. So it's a period that they cannot stand. Thank you very much, Sam. They cannot stand each other. If they are together, they fight. If they are separated, they are two angels. So it's a blast to have two girls. In one way, I have 3 girls at home, also my wife. So I'm the minority in the family. So,
what and how much of you can identify in your daughters?
Oh, a lot. And
except for the energy, that's clear because you told us that
No,
very
also,
energetic.
if I look at the oldest one, Alessia is 5 years old. She already, since year 2, she negotiates with us as parents. Yeah? I mean, if I'm amazed sometimes with what she comes up with, and then it goes about candies or it goes about toys. I give an example. We started a year ago to let her understand what means money, yeah, in generally. And that you, in case you have a good performance or you help or you clean your stuff, sometimes, not always, yeah, you can be rewarded for it. Yeah, and then she came to negotiate to say, yeah, Father, what in case I now clean, I help you with the leaves, how much money will I get? Yeah, it was not will I get, it was how much money I will get. I mean, well, 5 years today, yeah. So sometimes I'm amazed, yeah, of these kind of things, and then I'm recognizing myself.
She's thinking transactional already.
Yes, she's already thinking in transactions. So, also from my wife, you recognize from both parts. Yeah? We always are proud that we say from both parts the best. Yeah, we see in the children. But I think for each children,
wait for several years.
Yeah,
the bad things will come up.
So yeah, yes, we recognize as well as from my side, as well as from my wife's side, things in the children that we say, you remember that we pushed on this when she was very small, but you see it only the result, and sometimes it's comparing it. I find, yeah, with business, you invest, yeah,
exactly,
in it, but you see, honestly, only when she became 3.5, 4 years, you see the result from your first years of parenting. Yeah. So in Romanian, we express it, șapte de acasă.
Șapte ani de acasă.
Yeah. So this is also something which we set as parents, as well as my wife and myself, that we want to be active in this parenting. Especially the first 7 years, 10 years, 12 years. Anyway, after 12 years, they will say, bye father, bye mother, I'm going to my friends. So yes, we recognize a lot in ourselves, in our children. If I look at generally a lot of friends, acquaintances, the grandparents have a very active role in raising. Yeah, with us.
Usually a disturbing role.
Yeah, because also
they affect the investment.
Yes, and we also choose consciously. My parents, of course, they're living in Belgium. My wife's parents are a little bit, they are sick, they cannot always. So we were obliged in one way to parent us. Yeah? And on one hand, we say now, good that it is like this and that we are doing it because you have your hand also in how you are raising them. I also understand, I mean, parents which are going to work with 2, they have to leave the kids somewhere. Now, for sure, in COVID times when they close the school,
it was a little bit different. Yes.
You have to leave the kids somewhere. So, on that point of view, I understand everybody. But since the kids are, Alessia was born 5 years ago, I made one promise, and that's not to work in the weekends. And this is really a promise which I kept. And so
that's
in the weekends are for the kids. I mean, at the end of the day, we are replaceable. I'm very convinced of that, at work, but at home not. And this role I try to take more and more.
That's perfect. And regarding the expression șapte ani de acasă, it's a worldwide issue already because a lot of people is so busy with the jobs that they are actually not really parenting. They are just leaving the kids grow like weeds.
Yeah.
And the effects are everywhere already. The new generations
It's also difficult, how far you need to go. For example, I give you an example, the tablet and the phone and whatever, how far you need to go. Do you leave them, yes or no? No, then your kids raising in an era where technology is everything. So what is the perfect age to start with it? We, for example, with the first kid, very early we started, we rewinded it. And now still, today she can, once a week, in the weekend, she knows she can stay on the tablet, for example. Because it's easy, you give this technology thing in the hand and they are quiet.
Yeah, and they are at peace.
They are at peace. So, it's something which we learned with the first kid, for example, which we didn't do anymore with the second child. Because in one way, with other friends where we saw kids at an age of 6, 7, 8 years going already to shrinks, to psycholog, just because they were already living in their world with their phone, with their story, with their, and there we said, okay, let's try to prevent it and
yeah, that's perfect.
Do it the difficult way.
Okay, now a tough question. How do you see, as a Belgian guy, Romania? How was for you to adapt, to fit into this culture, which is, you're Flemish, as I know. Yeah?
Yes.
So comparing with the Wallons, we are somehow similar with the Wallons, but not quite. We are quite different even against Wallons. Moreover, against the Flemish. How was for you to adapt to this culture, which is totally different from...
It is. I can confirm it is totally different.
Can you point out the main differences for you and the main challenges?
Let me first, the first question, and I will come back on this. For me, it was in one way what I did, but again, I was very young. I said, I go to Romania, but I will not go with any expectation. Yeah? So I came into Romania, no expectations. So in one way, everything what happened, I took it up and I said, okay, let's see how it is. Yeah, I mean, at the end, 23 years. So, and I think this helped me, yeah, because if I did not do something, was comparing. Yeah? The moment, and I hear this a lot with other colleagues, expats, however you want to call it, foreigners, yeah, who are in Romania, they compare, yeah, constantly, but they get also frustrated. Yeah? This is a factor which I tried, and I think I succeed to not do. Yeah? Just to not compare, because there are always good and bad things on the country. You can always find, also from Belgium, good and bad, Romania, good and bad. So, and if you then start to compare, yes, we all know, yeah, it's more structured, it's more, the people are colder in Belgium. Yeah, I mean the character of people here, they are southern, they're more like Italian, Spanish. Let's get together, a barbecue, whatever. So that's one thing which I didn't do, is to compare Belgium with Romania. Yeah? Out of the sake of not getting frustrated, yeah, at the end of the day, or frustrated in both ways, not only living in Romania, but also inverse. I always said for myself, the moment, because people will also ask me a lot, why 15 years in Romania? Yeah? I always said the moment that I regret or I have doubts, that second I will take my suitcase and I will go somewhere else, because the world is bigger than only Romania at the end of the day. But I didn't, so I'm still here. I'm enjoying it day after day. Why? And I have to say, I have now lately also with AC students, with the economics students, they asked me to also do some presentations and about me person, but also the business. And I tell them always, youngsters today, yeah, they are the first generation, the generation which is now studying, which cannot abuse and use the excuse anymore, yes, but 30 years ago we were communism. Yeah? Because they have it only from stories. They didn't live it through. Yeah? So it's this generation, in my view, who can, should, and will change the country. Yeah? As let's say, because if we speak...
In every aspect.
In every aspect, yes. What do I love on Romania, besides my wife and my kids, yeah, and the family, is the fact that you can still, I always say, you can still be an entrepreneur. Yeah? Mm-hmm. There is still room for improvement in an existing company. If you now choose to make a new company, it's pretty capital free. Yeah? You don't need a lot of capital in Romania to really start a business. Mm-hmm. Yeah? In one way, if you have a bright idea, you take 50 euro, you open a company, you take a lawyer and an accountant, and you start a business. Yeah? Which in West Europe is not. Yeah? The capital in Belgium, for example, it's, I think 12,000 something, 13,000
the minimum
euro,
requirement.
the minimum required capital
By law.
By law. So, I mean, there are still entrepreneurial point of view, chances, not only fiscal, but also the market is not set yet in Romania. We see this day in, day out, I think, in our business
changing,
also. It's constantly changing. That's what I love, the people, the nature. I mean, it's you have everything at 2-3 hours distance if we don't calculate the Centura of Bucharest.
Okay.
So
out of the ring road.
Out of the ring road, you have access to very fast the mountain.
And except Valea Prahovei.
Yes. But I understood that they will now push a little bit on the highway, so let's hope we will see this before our pension. This is really what I love and what I do think are the big points of Romania.
And the challenges?
Challenges I see more in...
As a culture, not necessarily business and...
As a culture, this eager and this wanting to liberty. The word liberty, in my view, sometimes is misused in the culture. And I give there the example of and a lot of people, I have even with my wife some discussions about it, about the COVID vaccine. Everybody sees there's a liberty to choose to get vaccinated or not, while the liberty is to live or not, I find. The question is not, should I vaccinate? The question is, should I choose for life or not? And this is sometimes in the culture, this liberty, I think it's used in their own, how everybody sees
Let
this.
me rephrase it to see, and you are telling me if it is the actual thing that you wanted to explain. I think that Kant said that the liberty, my liberty, ends where my liberty affects the other, the next to me liberty. So this is how philosophically and even politically it is the definition, it is defined the liberty. And you are saying actually that Romanians and usually the Latins, because my sister is living in Italy, my brother is living in Spain, usually the Latin people are understanding liberty and the freedom like something, I don't care the others, I want to do whatever I want. No matter the consequences for the others.
While liberty can be obtained also by group, by a thought of a higher, putting yourself in a higher...
As a member of a community.
Yes. And I think there is a challenge. I'm also work-related. We have also within Essers these discussions, what is the different cultures and so on. And I used in one way the example of COVID to really explain how 70% from the Romanians, because that was statistically until September, there were 30% vaccinated and 70% not. I mean, to explain this more on examples, because before I didn't have examples, because it was a generality. Now there was really an example to say from, look, this is cultural.
Basically, on the culture issue, this is the basis, and my opinion is that on top of this is also the psychological reaction to 40 years of communism. Because 100%. If you are checking the figures for all the former communist countries, we are having almost the same pattern in vaccination, because we've been so many years, so many decades oppressed, that when the liberty came, we consider it as granted and as not having any limit. No?
Correct.
I would say. And in business, this is also not very good, right?
No.
Because the cultural thing, it's affecting the behavior also on the job of everyone.
Well, this is really a challenge, I think, besides the normal things, infrastructure, political. I think the biggest challenge in very short midterm is the PNRR, the plan for Romania. I mean, because there it's not the plan as such. The plan is good, because I'm also involved in CDR, Coalitia for
we'll discuss about this later.
So I think there is really a challenge to keep the timeline set forward by the European Union.
The timeline and the actual targets.
Yes.
The task that had to be done, especially with the new regime. Okay, about the culture. Part of the culture is the language.
Yes.
We all see, already seen, and our viewers already seen that you manage quite okay English. Okay, not very, with the delicate things, it's difficult to use it for explaining. That's why we switched to English. But anyway, you are Flemish, but you learn French anyway in school. I suppose that was a useful tool for you to understand the Romanian language as a grammar. Așa, în primul rând din punct de vedere al gramaticii, da? Că e relativ similară, deși e mai grea decât franceza.
Nu, e mai greu. Ideea e că când am venit în România, pe partea limbă, am zis, nu înțeleg nimic, chiar nimic. Și am făcut obicei să ascult fiecare zi, jumătate de oră, știri. Da? Și nu înțelege primele...
Nu înțelegeai nimic.
E cuvânt cu cuvânt. După aia, a doua avantaj a fost că toate filmul sunt subtitrat și nu sunt dublat, cum e în toată țara în jurul României. Și în a treia rând și cel mai important a fost căsătorie cu soția Ada, care m-a împins să vorbesc română.
Noi mai avem o zicală.
Da?
O limbă străină se învață cel mai bine în dormitor.
Da, așa e. În afară de asta, 10 minute de iCut. Nu, da. Adică, ea m-a împins până am cunoscut pe soția, înțelege, deci nimeni nu mai a putut să mă păcălească.
Să mă păcălească, da.
Să mă păcălească pe limba română. Ideea e că Ana m-a împins să vorbește pentru că, bineînțeles, a fost mama ea care nu vorbește engleză și din cauza asta m-am și simțit obligat un pic, da? Și să vorbesc. Și din obligație, nu obligație, dar...
Ai fost forțat, de fapt, de
evenimente.
Când
15 ani într-o țară, mi se pare normal, da? Că cum vorbim noi acum, nu în detalii și despre business, pentru că acolo sunt terminologie
și nu chestii de subtilități. Da.
Să vorbesc română, pentru că eu sunt singură, prieteni sunt români, cea mai mare parte, și sunt singură care, și mi-e rușine un pic dacă zice hai să vorbim în engleză pentru că și Iruna e aici. Și din cauza asta m-am simțit un pic obligat eu ca Irun să învăț limbă, pentru că nu vreau să vii întotdeauna străinul care nu știe limba română și nu înțelege nimic. Deci...
Cum ți s-a părut gramatica?
Foarte greu. Foarte greu. Și știu asta și zic și soția. Eu știu că mai fac foarte multe greșelile când vorbesc, dar am zis mai bine vorbesc și fac eroarele decât să nu vorbesc.
Stai liniștit că nici românii nu mai vorbesc corect român. Da, din ce în ce mai puțin.
E greu.
Adică noi avem un fenomen similar cu ce au francezii, pentru că și francezii au început să o ia rău tot. Da, asta e. Vedem ce facem. Care e mâncarea ta preferată românească?
Mâncarea mea preferată românesc. Sarmale, hai să zicem sarmală și miel. Mielul la Paște, eu sunt cel mai fericit. Nu, asta chiar sunt preferatele mele.
Ok, știi că noi avem în românește un deziderat. Asta ar trebui să știi, că e ca în franceză. Așa, un deziderat. Vrem o țară ca afară. Da. Cultura nu ne ajută foarte tare. Cultura noastră ne diferențiază foarte mult de cei din vest, ca mod de a gândi, ca mod de a... Am discutat mai devreme. Dar cum vezi tu?
Acolo eu am o singură... Deci, știu foarte mulți oameni care, de exemplu, au lucrat în Belgia. Din întâmplător, am fost la mama și tata acasă în Belgia și să lucreze la trotuare în fața casei. Și la un moment dat tata zice, cred că e în spaniol. Eu zic, nu cred, și am mers afară. Și am vorbit cu el. A fost un român care 15-16 ani de zile face numai acestea. Și am vorbit cu el și între timp cu mai mulți oameni care au revenit în țară și am întrebat, și eu întreb pe ei, tu ai trăit 5, 10, 15 ani acolo, în structură, în reglemente, tot ce e acolo și vine înapoi și nu aplic.
În haos.
De ce nu? Dar asta e răspunsul lor. De ce să fac eu? Eu am revenit în junglu, în haos și mă adaptez înapoi în țară în care trăiesc. Asta nu mi se pare corect. Dacă fiecare, și asta încerc...
Ne lipsește intoleranța la haos.
Da, pentru că așa construiești în privința mea, fiecare pe bucățica lui. Dacă începem acolo, știi, e o expresie, dar nu știu cum se spune în română. Să matură în fața casă, fiecare să matură în fața
fiecare
casă.
Fiecare să-și îngrijească,
nu?
Da.
Dacă fiecare aș face acesta,
bucățica lui.
bucățica lui ar fi mult mai bine. Așa încerc și eu în companie, pe rândul meu. Da? E o companie, avem niște metri pătrați, un depozit și cultura acolo încerc să adapt un pic, să dau și oameni mai mult decât. Da? Să ai și ideea cum pot să schimb gândire, chestia asta să ia și acasă.
De la mic la mare. Încep cu ceva mic și pe urmă ajungi la efecte mari. Da. Ce ți se pare că e în România mai bine decât în Belgia?
În primul rând, oameni. Ce am văzut eu, oameni, și a fost acum 15 ani.
Oameni, nu oameni, că oameni se poate înțelege altceva. Da, avem și oameni frumoase. Da.
Nu, oameni vor să lucreze. Da? Asta am văzut întotdeauna. Asta e mare diferență. Vor să învățe să lucreze. Dacă întreb, avem un acțiune special, veniți cu tot. Vine 90% de oameni. În Belgia e mai greu, da? Cu oameni. Ei vine de muncă, să ai salarii. Aici mai ai și oameni care vor să învățe, să spun așa. Mare diferență de bine în România, cum am spus, e și mie se pare că pot să fie antreprenor. Da? Deci oameni care chiar are o viziune, vor să facă un business, dar și să lucreze într-o companie mică. Eu, de exemplu, studenți, am spus, dacă vreți multinațional, dacă vrei o structură, da? Și este foarte structurat, alegerea voastră ar trebui să fie multinațională. Dacă vrei să ai ideea sau sentiment măcar, da? Să construiești la ceva, du-te la o companie românesc, 100% capital românesc, mic mijlocei și acolo pun în practică ce ai învățat. Pentru că, în primul rând, acolo primești șansele, da? Pentru că e o companie de familie și eu mă uit la noi, pot să faci greșeală. Da? Ei acceptă foarte tânăr, da? Din școală, oamenii care care are energie, bun și pe baza asta se construiești, da? Cum am fost și eu până la urmă. Da? Deci, asta cred că e avantajul în România. În Belgia, noi nu aș fi acceptat un tânăr de 23 de ani să merge acolo și ai grijă de o companie și vedem cum ajungi.
Responsabilități.
Da. Aici, bine, la noi în companie s-a schimbat, dar mai există companie genul asta. Capitalul română care caută oameni care vor să crește business, chiar care merge împreună, da, să facă business ca o corporație. Da? Sunt foarte multe exempluri din compania acesta și asta dai șansele la oamenilor. În alt fel, dacă te uiți nu numai la universități care face studie, blue collar, da? Salarii în 15 ani că sunt aici a crescut foarte mult. Da? Dacă lucrezi cu doi acasă, eu zic că poți să ai o trăire bine, un trai bine în România, pentru că trebuie să ia în calcul tot. Da? Dacă te uiți, de exemplu, în Belgia, da? Are plus minus, sunt 40% de oameni, toți oamenii în Belgia sunt proprietari, 60% stă cu chirie. Aici 95% sunt proprietari, 5% la chirie, deci ai alte grijă. Da? Asta e mentalitatea.
Bine, la noi mulți dintre proprietari au în continuare grijă pentru că au de plătit rate la bancă. Adică
corect, dar
nu sunt fully.
Și asta e ceva de cultură. Am văzut și cu soția că nu vreau credit, de exemplu. Știi? Vreau să fiu independent și nu vreau să am un credit. Foarte mulți români spun asta, dar nu e rău să ai un credit pentru că construiești. Da? Pe baza bănci care te dai bani cu rată de interes, construiești. Da. Facem și același în companie.
Problema este că statul, în loc să te ajute, îți spune tot timpul piedici. Da. Și atunci, da, riscul e foarte mare comparativ cu Belgia, să zicem, da? Da. Unde statul îți creează condiții.
Da. Da, corect. Pentru și asta lipsește.
Unul din reproșurile tuturor industriilor mediului economic este nu neapărat că nu face nimic pentru noi, ci că face împotriva. Măcar dacă n-ar face nimic, tot ar fi bine. Că nu ne-ar împiedica.
Asta am spus și eu, ar trebui să fie un stimul undeva de la, dacă te uiți un pic
să ne creeze condițiile favorabile, atâta tot, că restul facem noi, nu e...
Da. Pot să-ți dau și un exemplu. A fost o companie imobiliară din Belgia care construiește uriaș, birouri, apartamente și ca la carte, da? Cu tot autorizație, cu tot. La un moment dat s-a trezit că București, mare București, are transpus put și de la început ar trebui să ia. În condiție că clădirea a fost aproape gata. Deci asta da. Stat nu e mai mult contra decât pro. Și asta e o problemă. E o mare problemă pentru că nu ajută cu nimic. Și ideea că, dacă ne uităm la economia României, cea mai mare parte din creșterea economiei e de consum. Nu de investiție, în producție, de ceva care dă și viziune pe termen lung.
Și
nu numai
consum și inflație indusă. Prin mărirea salariilor minime, pentru că asta automat duce la creșterea tuturor și apare brusc o creștere care de fapt e falsă.
Cred că astea sunt cea mai punctele slab care trebuie să fie văzut, dar iarăși noi ca om nu putem să schimbăm asta. Trebuie să avem o generație de politicieni care vor să schimbe și vor să lupte, pentru că nu știu dacă pot să spun, dar cred că tot sistemul e putrit. Da? De la omul de jos până sus. Deci dacă mâine ai un om aici care vor să schimbe tot, nu va câștiga lupte până jos. Deci trebuie să ai o grup de oameni care chiar rezistă.
Păi și aici intervine chestia care spuneai mai devreme, că fiecare dacă ar avea grijă de bucățica lui jos, practic ar limita oportunitățile celor care nu vor să aibă grijă de țară și de...
Corect.
Povestește-ne un pic despre activitatea ta din Coaliția pentru Dezvoltarea României. Probabil că aici o să încerci în engleză, că e mai...
You know me better.
15 years.
So, 2 years ago, so I think 6 or 8 years in the Chamber of Commerce, Belgium, Luxembourg, Moldova, Romania. 2 years ago, they asked me to join the task force, the Coaliția. Coaliția is formed a little bit, there is a reforming now going on, but till now, they work on task forces. Yeah? You have a task force infrastructure, where also Jon Alexandru, for example, is part of. And then you have European funds, you have all kind of task forces. And I engaged myself in the infrastructural one and in the European fund. Why did I do it? Because at the end of the day, it's pro bono. Yeah? It's again to have the feeling that I'm working on the future of Romania. Again, related to the kids. Yeah? I will give, or we as parents, we will give our kids an education that they can choose. Yeah? Do we stay in Romania or do we go in? Do we go in another country? In case they choose to stay in Romania, at least I want to have the feeling that I did something, what I could, to build a better Romania.
We say in Romania, am pus și eu o cărămidă.
Nu cărămidă, gletuentri cărămidă.
Tencuiala și
și
mortarul.
That's the idea. I find it, Coaliția, again, it's Chamber of Commerce, it's all kind of groups, syndicates, there are a combination of to be, and we don't interfere in public politics. Yeah? This is something which they have to manage,
Strictly
but it's
technical and business
pretty
wise.
technical, business-wise, to put white papers, to discuss face-to-face with ministries, to put there the advice from an industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we try to do. And it would, I do believe in this platform, but changing the government that much, I don't know, I lost count how many governments I saw in 15 years, believe me. And that's also why, first of all, as company, we're never politically involved, but we were also not, in Romania, it's also difficult. The real lobbyists of these worlds, they have to change each 6 months their camp, so it's very difficult, I think, to deal with it. And this is also then a problem for us, because there is no long-term vision set out. Yeah?
And no commitments.
No commitments,
because they are not able to sit together, both sides or 3 sides, to say, okay, we will have fights, we'll have different ideas, but let's have this master plan for the next 10 years.
Yes.
No.
And the people don't believe in the government, and then you get the demigration of the people. I read an article that
there are no reasons to believe in them, because they don't do anything
to better.
No.
To give the comfort that it will better in the future.
Exactly, because their motivations are clearly different from, they are not related to the good work of this country.
No.
Yeah.
And will be the biggest
This is the main
challenge.
problem. Yes, the main problem. Yes. Okay, also, people that is already knowing you, they know that you've been also vice president in ARILOG. What do you appreciate and what do you expect from a guild colleague, a colleague of our industry? Not when you are trying to hire him, okay?
No.
Just as a member of this community.
I think, and there's where we work on as colleagues, competitors, however you want to call it. I mean, the market is big enough. I think fairness, I think it's something which we all try to strive to, and we succeed. I think there is, everybody at the end of the day is going to go in their specialization, in this field. And I do think that everybody by now found also their specialization. There are guys who focus on retail, guys who focus on clothing, guys like us, chemics and pharmaceuticals. So at the end of the day, 15 years ago, everybody was shooting on everything. Let's say it like this. It was like in the wild, wild west. We were competing also in tenders. You saw also appearing.
First shoot, then ask.
Yes. You saw everybody appearing. While I do think that now the market is not yet settled, but it's getting more and more settled, who's doing what and having which specialization. And this can only work in our advantage. Why? Because we start also, I see it also for myself, to speak more and more with colleagues, competitors, than we did in the past. In the past we were saying, competitors, we don't speak with them. I speak now 15 years ago. Today, I can say I have with the colleagues in the park, we meet, we eat, we discuss, we openly put issues on sharing of issues. I mean, we don't all have to invent the hot water.
It's also the environment before. Here, it forces you.
Yes.
Because you have the states actually against you, not...
So
we have to take a lot of things, as you know, also in ARILOG, at the first wave of the pandemic, we had to get together and to try to obtain something from the government to stop, because they came, if you remember, with lockdown with critical things. We couldn't repair the trucks, we couldn't move the pallets because it wasn't the law with interdiction and everything. So actually the state actually helped us to be more close to each other. But as you said, once specialized, they became more relaxed indeed and more open to discussions and to
collaborations
even socialization. That's true.
I think also the last 2 years pushed us in one way. I always say, do not compare anything anymore for what was now 2 years. Yeah. Last year it was a COVID. We all had to cope with what is COVID, how do we arrange our work, homework, yes, no, remote, whatever. How do we run the warehouse? How do we
plans,
keep
yes, for warehouses
running? And I remember we had in the business contingency plan, we had half a page pandemic before the pandemic, and now it became 16 pages, only pandemic. So we all reacted on that. I do find, because they said 2020 was a difficult year, I find 2021 even more difficult year, because still there is COVID, but besides that, everything increased as costs. So it's really challenging times.
And it goes on.
Yeah, it goes on. It's not yet, the limit is not reached yet. So I do think it's a challenging time, although it's also time for those who are established to again reinforce themselves and take it as an opportunity. And each bad things are opportunities. So
a colleague from I think it was from Czech Republic, from Logistic Association from Czechia, had a very nice expression: "Let's not waste a good crisis."
No, correct, correct. I look at ourselves, and I don't want to go too much in business, but there are so many opportunities which came in the last 2 years. We started with the train to China, the vaccines which we are driving around. A lot. The COVID test. So there are opportunities created. It's the only thing is, you have to pass, and it's also personally, you have to pass very fast the stage. What's going on? To managing what you have in that day. While I do think East Europe is better in this than West Europe, because West Europe, was already structured more. In East Europe, you are anyway used to changing constantly.
To be flexible.
To be flexible in your management as well as in everything. So there I think that East Europe really reacted well on it. Except then the vaccination rate and whatever. But
that's the population, not the business.
That's population, not the business.
How do you see our local logistic industry? Do you see it that is developing in, as you said, in very clear specializations? But do you see it as an industry that it still have room for growth?
Oh yes.
Do you see it? Do you see as a bleak future or a bright future for this industry?
I see it still as a bright future, and again, and we are speaking many years, and you know it also in conferences as well as from ARILOG as others. Romania has still the chance to be the EDC, the European Distribution Center from the East inbound to Europe. Still today,
if we do not fail, if we are not failing to take advantage of our port.
Again, yes, we come to the same discussion. Politics, pure geographically seen, there is Constanza, there is Danube, there is the connection towards the west, and it's one of the only one who have this harbor as a European country. This, again, lack of vision, leave that aside, there is still future in this whole industry. Yes, for sure.
Okay, last question, because we have to fit into a schedule like usual. We are businessmen.
Used with it.
Time management. So the question would be, what do you think? What is your opinion about these global changes, starting from the culture, cancel culture appropriation, dependency of the China, altogether, what changed in the last years? I know it's a very general question, but what is your opinion, and what direction do you see? How do you think it will finalize in the next years? What would really change, major change in the whole global business environment? And cultural environment also.
I think, and if we all remember the early 2000s, globalization, now today there are COVID manifestations or anti-COVID green certificates. Back then there were globalization manifestations, but this is what is happening. Yeah? Can we stop it? No. Yeah? And today it will be America, tomorrow it will be China, it will be Russia. We see clear that there is an entrance from China, Russia into Europe. Yeah? They're searching for an entrance in Europe to have there. Well, I do think, and I'm not at that level, but I do think that it will be settled at a certain moment. Yeah. As well as from the power of China, the power of America, or it will always be a power game. How it will end, we don't know. Yeah. In what it will end, let's see in the upcoming months. I really do think that 2022 is a crucial moment to stabilize, first of all, yeah? And to see who's going to win this battle, yeah? Because the things which are happening are not okay. Look at Russia, Ukraine, Poland, whatever, yeah, with the migrants is happening. But it cannot keep on happening. Yeah? For everything is an end. So
we have to pay attention, because the same speech had also the Great Britain in 38, 39.
Yes,
and finally...
I know. Will it end up there? We learned in this, whatever, 90, 80, 90 years a lot. I don't think it will end up in a world war or whatsoever to see who is the strongest from the three powers or whatever is going on. But yes, there will follow a very unstable period. Yeah? As well as price, we will feel it in the prices. Yeah? Like we felt in the last half year. I do think that for at least another half a year, this game will go on. And then it has to stabilize. Yeah? For the sake of the world economy, yeah, at a certain moment there will stand up also some powers which didn't stand up today yet to interfere in these discussions. Because where everybody afraid of, and myself also, is the big ones will exist, yeah, but it's also the medium and small companies need to exist. There need to be a competition, so they will not, at a certain moment, the state aid, yeah? How much does the state need to pump in the economy? Yeah? Again, COVID, non-COVID, whatever. So, yeah, it's a good question. I cannot answer or give a straight answer on it. I don't know, but all the signs, and with whoever I speak, they say within a half a year it should be at least not hiring anymore, stabilizing, and then back again to what it is.
One of the most sensitive issues in these 2 last years was the dependency of the China manufacturing capacity. Okay, and from the supply chain standpoint, this became really critical, as you know. Disruptions, very high prices and everything. And now there are big discussion of relocation of some production capacity.
But it's going on already, yeah? And I do think that this is the future.
To which extent do you think it will go?
Yeah, I think people became aware, but still today we see this. Stocks which are not refilled because of X, Y, Z reasons.
No, I mean the relocation of the manufacturing capacity. To which extent do you think it will go?
To a very big extent, I think, that they are searching indeed to produce closer by home. Yes. I do. Today are already production facilities
that are
which are establishing or moving. Look at Brexit. Also there, they moved people from UK into Belgium, whatever is near, to avoid customs, whatever. So yes, there will come productions here. Maybe the future is pop-up productions, like there are pop-up restaurants, who knows? Yeah. I don't know, yeah. But yes, the production will come closer to the main, to the main markets.
To the main markets. Și acum un adendum, încă o întrebare, ultima. Ce consider că lași tu în urmă, tu, Jeroen Fabry, în industrie, în primul rând în industria noastră logisticii, și în al doilea rând, ce crezi că lași în urmă în România, în general? Nu... Indiferent dacă vei pleca sau nu. Dacă simți nevoia să-i răspunzi în engleză, răspunde în engleză.
Încerc în română, e ultima întrebare. Bine, în afară de 2 copii minunați, privat, vorbind de business...
Sperăm că pe astea nu le lași în urmă, astea sunt cu tine.
Da. Vorbind de business, eu sper pe bucățica noastră de specializare în tot ce înseamnă farmaceutică, chimicalele și mai departe, că noi am luat o amprentă. Da? O amprentă în cum trebuie să facem pentru clienți. Da? Ce spune legea? Conformitate?
Dacă conformitate.
Dacă e un cuvânt corect.
E ca în franceză.
Da. Pe partea business, ai oameni autonomi, da? Că după mine se merge business.
Cum spuneai la început, nimeni nu e de neînlocuit.
Nimeni nu e de înlocuit, nici eu. Deci eu sper să fi construit încă de 3-4 ore mai mult depozituri, camioane și mai departe. Și că pentru industrie, că cum am ales noi, că fiecare e parte de o bucățică mai mare. Asta sper pe partea noastră că noi am făcut.
Bun, mulțumesc pentru că ai răspuns invitației, mulțumesc pentru deschidere, că ai răspuns la toate întrebările noastre fără ezitare.
Nu am folosit joker.
Da, și la bună vedere, să ne mai vedem. Noi oricum ne mai vedem de-a lungul timpului, așa că ne știm de atâția ani. Mulțumim încă o dată, dragi telespectatori. Sper că v-au plăcut răspunsurile lui Jeroen și vă așteptăm la următorul episod.
Mulțumim.
O zi bună, la revedere!
La revedere!